So first of all, Simon, how are you? And we'll get into your time at Stevenage as well in a moment. But yeah, just how's things?
Yeah, good. Yeah, really good. Looking forward to this. I've been back to the club a few times. Um, the 18 had a look at a few games. Haven't been back this season. Obviously, it's been a year, but no, I spoke to a few people. Bobby O'Keefe, Ronnie Henry. So yeah, I don't spend a lot of time back at the club at all, but I have been. So.
Just going to try and see because it seems like there was a bit of I don't know how that came out. If people could actually hear could actually hear you two while there. It was a little bit kind of glitchy. I don't know if that was just on my end or I'm not too sure, but we'll try and get through it anyway, and we'll get into it and see what happens. But anyway, for the first question, really, it goes back to when you signed for the football club, and can you tell us about that move and sort of how that move came about on your end?
Well, I was at the time with chairman and obviously Victor moved over to Stevenage and spoke to me about his ambitions and what he wanted to do with the football club. It came around as a result of that. Really.
See, yeah, I'm not too sure what's going on with this. We might have to. 'Cause I don't know what's going on there because I couldn't actually hear you too clearly there at all. It was quite faint and quite quiet.
Was it right? I've turned my
That's
volumes.
better.
My
That's better
volume.
now. Yeah, that's better now. I got you that time. So yeah, just sorry, just repeat what you just said. That's all.
Well, it was my chairman at Hendon. I was at Hendon at the time,
Hmm.
and obviously Victor Green went over to Stevenage. Spoke to me about his ambitions and what he wanted to do with the football club, and it was obviously I knew the football club playing against them, and it was it was an easy move really at the time. A lot of ambition. Um, I had 3 great years at Hendon, and I still speak to some of the lads there now. But it was it, it was a good move at the time.
And then obviously made your debut for the club in the 93-94 season. And obviously you came into that squad. It was sort of halfway through the season, wasn't it, as well? If my memory sort of serves me correct.
Yeah, I think it was December time. I think maybe the middle of December. I think
And
I
sort
only
of, I was just going to say, how's that for a player sort of coming in to a kind of already settled group, or a group that's already been working together for a few months?
yeah, it's tough, isn't it? But I think if you are if you're confident in what you can do and you're fit, um, and you're ready to go into somewhere. I didn't see it as an issue. I knew Stevenage were a really good side at that time. You play against people, so you know certain people in the side,
Yeah.
and you look at it and you weigh things up. But no, it wasn't an issue because you have belief in yourself, and I was fit. I knew what I could do, and I sort of went in really positively and looking forward to it. And I had a really good sort of 5 months there, which yeah, really enjoyable.
And obviously, you started off your time at the club, in a quite good vein as well, getting clean sheets in your opening. Was it four? Sorry, four from your opening 5 games as well. So for somebody that's coming in as a defender, that's obviously a big achievement to kind of hit the ground running as well, isn't it?
Yeah, especially when you're at that sort of, you're getting towards the second half of the season. From a defender's point of view, you want to be solid. Um, you're at the top of the league.
Yeah.
If you don't concede goals with what we had and who we had in the side, you're always going to score. So it was yeah, it was good. It was good. It's a few years ago now, but no, it was a really good time for me. Great lads, good dressing room. I got on well with Cloughie.
Yeah.
And it helps when you're winning football matches, isn't it? Because you get that, you get a mixture of arrogance and confidence, and so long as that doesn't stop you working hard and keep doing the right things, which I've always done that. It was, and when you go into a group like that, if you do fall below your levels, then they drag you up, which when you're playing with Nuge and people like Mark Smith and people around, you've got characters in a group that are gonna pick you up and demand standards of you, which is a good thing, and that's any successful dressing room, isn't it? You have that.
And of course, you mentioned there the manager at the time, Paul Fairclough, as well. Hopefully, this is actually episode 99 as well. I've got through quite a few, and I'm going to try and speak to Paul for the big 100. So that'll be a real insightful and interesting one to follow, I'm sure, for ex-players and of course the fans as well, to hear what Paul's got to say.
Yeah, he's look, he's still in the game now, and he was a good manager. He was a good man manager. He was an intelligent manager. When I look back, I can't remember who was the guy in centre midfield. Absolute bulldog.
Let's have a look. I could probably find out for you if you give me 2 seconds. Let's have a look. Because that squad, it had some insane players. It had some really top draw players. You mentioned Nuge and we had Dave Venables. There's obviously Martin Gittins. There's just literally insane players all over the pitch.
Yeah, do you know what? But what, the point is with Cloughie, people look at squads and they've got a mix of everything.
Yeah.
And we had flair, we had pace, we had goals with Gitz, and I forgot his name. It will come to me, but we had an absolute bulldog centre in midfield. Played simple, won the ball, give it easy, and not glamorous.
Yeah.
But you've got the thing that Cloughie did really well. We had a great balance. So we had that mix. We knew how to win games by individual brilliance. We knew how to win games from set plays. We knew how to be rugged. We knew how to be strong, but we knew also how to turn people around and put it in areas and win in different ways. Which I think if you've got that, you cover all bases, and that was one of Cloughie's strengths for me. It was about.
Was it, so just going back to what you were saying, was it Glenn Alzapidi? Was it him?
No.
Who else was there? Sean Debenham.
Sean Debenham.
Was that the fella?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just remind. I'm sure it was Sean. I think it was Sean Debenham. Kind of blondish hair, bulldog.
I'm just looking through the squad here because that was a little bit before my time. If I'm brutally honest with you, I went a couple of years later. I started going to the games really, but obviously I'm aware of that squad and obviously the things that squad achieved, but just not at that was kind of just a little bit before I started going. Yeah,
I'm sure that Debenham. I think that rings a bell, and again I'm sure he won't mind me saying, and I don't know the guy. But it just knew what he was about, got into people. You had that magic balance of grit, winners, ball players, goal scorers, good defenders. It's a huge strength, isn't it, when you've got that in your squad, that balance. And that was where the Cloughie was really, really intelligent and really clever. He knew what he needed in his sides.
Yeah.
To win football matches at that level.
That's right. And obviously, I was just looking there for your debut against Dulwich Hamlet. And, if you look through that squad, obviously, Des Gallagher in goal, fantastic goalkeeper, still one of the club's best keepers to this day. Obviously, Rudy Hedman, Tony Joyce, Sean Debenham, Smudger, Glenn, Gary Crawshaw, Martin Gittins, Dave Venables.
some good players in there, isn't there, at that level?
Steve Gray. And if you look at, even players on the bench, the likes of Adam Parker, players that were more squad players and kind of players coming through, yeah.
Yeah, but even Adam Parker, he could come on. He was really young at that time and could change games and a little bit inconsistent, but I think he played a lot more games for Stevenage, if I believe, after I'd left.
He went on and he's been involved at Hitchin for a number of years as well, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So he's been involved over there on the coaching staff with Hitchin Town. So he's still local, yeah.
Okay, brilliant. Yeah, good lad. But even great in the dressing room when you talk about that. I spoke to Venners a few years ago. I spoke to Nuge, maybe a couple of years ago. Just a really good dressing room, good lads, good noise, good banter, which you need. But again, people that'll drag you up when you're struggling, and people that know how to win at that level, which is really important.
And obviously that was a successful time for the club as well. Obviously yourself coming in and then winning the league there, and then it kind of the club kicked on as well, and obviously went on and we're in the conference a couple of years later and doing really well. Winning the conference and. Obviously what happened there where the squad weren't allowed to get, move up to the Football League with the ground and everything like that was kind of beyond their control. But it was, there's a lot of players from that side. Gary Crawcher was a part of that. I'm sure Des was a part of that. There was quite a few players that were still in and around things at that point. When the club obviously, had the games against Birmingham and obviously went on and had that fantastic cup run as well as winning the title as well.
Yeah, was that the Newcastle year?
No, that was a little bit later on. That was sort of like towards the end of the 1990s. 98, okay. I think it was. Yeah.
I can remember watching that game. I think Gary Crawshaw, again, a great lad, Gal. I can remember watching, with fondness. I mean, it was, and there was a few players from my time there that played in that game.
Obviously, Smudge was one of the main ones, and Crawshaw and Des, yeah.
Unbelievable athleticism, Smudge. I used to watch him defend, and physically, he was like a train. So when you were turning, and I still speak about it with certain players now.
Yeah.
When Smudge used to hit a line, because he was that powerful with his quads and hamstrings and calves, he just used to hit a line and turn immediately. Yeah. I mean, when you look at someone with his pace and his fast twitch and his foot speed, just an absolute machine, and could play as well. A great defender, midfielder,
striker. He played everywhere, didn't he? To be honest, Smudge.
Yeah, and that's unusual. Sometimes you play in different positions, but you don't excel. I think Smudge, generally excelled in every position that he played, and could cope with higher levels than he was sort of used to as well. Great mentality, just very calm, but so powerful physically, just absolutely tremendous.
And then just coming back to when you were playing for the club, obviously you played alongside Martin Gittins, and Martin. We have to touch on Martin. We have to talk about him because, he's one of the players that, was a little bit before my time, as I was saying, but he's one of those guys that I would absolutely, have loved to have seen, because the stories that I hear about him and the kind of player that he was and the amount of goals that he scored for the football club, sensational.
Yeah, just totally focused. All the mentality, building blocks that you need as a striker. Could be selfish, wanted to score, and love scoring, which is huge. Not afraid when he misses to go again. I mean, that's a huge thing, isn't it, with strikers, when they go hiding, when they haven't got that strength of character. A unit, so he thought he was the strongest at the club.
Yeah.
He probably still thinks he's stronger than people there now. But yeah, just an absolute unit who loved to score, who loved to back into people, knew the dark arts so he could look after himself. I don't know how a lot of us would get on nowadays in the modern game because it's much more technical.
Yeah.
But no, Gitz was an absolute asset, a huge asset for any football club. Just in the way he operated, but ultimately it's the hardest thing in the game, isn't it? Stick it in the back of the net and do it consistently. And it was something that he adored and loved and was particularly good at that time.
And you can see that he's still very fondly remembered and loved by everyone at the club. Obviously, earlier this year in September, there was the game for him that took place. And then obviously there was a game that he attended as well. And he was a guest for one of the games that Stevenage played for Bristol Rovers, I think it was.
Okay.
So he was attending that one with his son and his carer as well, who looks after him. And then there's another game at the end of the season as well, the day after the end of the season for him as well, against a fans 11. So the club is still very much trying to do everything they can for him at the moment to raise the funds that they need for his care and everything. Yeah,
and quite rightly so. The glamour days and getting into the league is a tremendous thing, isn't it? But when you look at Smudger and you look at Gitz and you look at the servants that have played for the football club and played a lot of minutes, and been very loyal and very comfortable there. I think these guys are part of the history, and life is full of ups and downs. And I think the club do really well, and it's a very just thing that for both parties, for all parties, with what's going on, because they're a massive part of the history of any club, isn't it? And without that success at that time, the club wouldn't be where they are now.
No, that's so true as well. And it's when you look on the years gone by and the amount of fantastic strikers that Stevenage have had. You could look at the Steve Morrisons, the Anthony Eldens, the other strikers that have come through, the Matty Goddins and players like that. But no one has got anywhere near to Martin's record. No,
and I don't think they will. I really don't. I think it'll always be etched in the history, and it's almost folklore of a football club, isn't it? And to score at any level, it's the hardest thing. Defenders have it easy. We just destroy and get tight. To consistently put yourself in areas to score goals and take that risk of missing as well. I mean, Gitz used to hate missing, absolutely hate missing. But like I said, strength of character to go in where it hurts, to continue to do it. It just shows it's a measure of the man. For me, really is.
%. And he would have been a handful to probably even mark and kind of get close to and get tight to in training, because he's one of those guys that kind of, if my way of looking at it is correct, he'd probably he'd train how he played, if that makes sense.
Yeah, he never scored against me in training ever. Ever.
Is that because you were that good, or was it kind of what was it?
I was a decent defender, wasn't I? So it was. No, he never scored against me, Gitz. It's not going to happen. No, they're good battles. They're great battles, aren't they? And again, and this is where Cloughie was really clever. When you're looking to build an environment, and this top elite environment to win football matches consistently, you need people that are clear in what they're there to do. And that consistency and that level of training and that level of, it's almost dependability that they're going to rock up and do what they do best. But then that creates performance, that creates a need, a want to get better and almost lay the law down, isn't it? And we used to have tremendous training sessions. Absolutely great training sessions, and there was a bit of ag in it, but at the end of the day afterwards, you have a pint or you have a cup of tea, and go home. And on the Saturday, you're all focused on getting 3 points for the football club, which is a tremendous asset for any football club.
Yeah, 100%. And if that's how you can do that, and kind of you go into the game with that mindset of obviously going into the game and obviously going there and just being focused and ready to go. You're gonna, you can kind of you know how it's all going to pan out, sort of thing. Yeah, you can kind of control how the game's going to go.
Yeah, well, if you turn up and you're at your levels, and again, as I said early on, when you come off your levels and people demand that you get back there quickly, again, it's a massive strength. And again, Cloughie was honest and straight, and would support, but would also let you know, and quite rightly too. But we just had a really functional, aggressive, together dressing room that knew how to win, but knew how to win regularly.
Yeah,
that's the important thing. You can't be emotional and up and down when you want to win leagues. You have to be consistent. You have to understand. There's more ways to win a football match. It can't all be beautiful all the time. Sometimes you've got to dig it out when you're playing on poor pitches, and understand what it takes to win football matches. And we had that in buckets and spades.
That's right. And obviously, I was just one of my questions was going to be in regards to, did you believe that squad was kind of capable of competing at that level, but at a higher level, I should say. But to be honest, when you look at those players, every single player there is a player that could, you did it yourself. You obviously went and moved into Peterborough to the Football League. There's so many players there, even the ones that didn't move higher, that should have moved higher.
Yeah, no, very much so. And again, fair play to the manager. That's what it's about, isn't it? It's about building a unit that's cohesive, that works together, that competes. And there's you could name 10 players out of that side that could step in and at that time play 1 league higher, 2 leagues higher, more so than that. And again, it's a massive strength when you talk about managers who build squads.
Yeah.
Of course, it helps because you've got backing from the chairman, and Victor Green did a great job, absolutely tremendous job for the football club whilst I was there, and he was good to me at Hendon.
Yeah.
But ultimately, he wanted a chance to progress and take a football club forward, and you've got 2 intelligent men that sort of put that in place and put the building blocks in place to do that. So fair play all round, really.
And just because obviously you mentioned Victor Green there as well, the chairman, you touched on it earlier with the Newcastle game. It was just, obviously Newcastle wanted that game changed to St James's Park originally, but Victor Green, he was having none of it. He was basically taking no nonsense. He was like, no, we were drawn at home. We're playing at home.
Yeah, fantastic, isn't it? And what an occasion. I can remember watching it on TV. What an occasion. And you put Newcastle coming down with who they had.
Yeah.
They're coming down to Broadall Way.
Alan Shearer, John Barnes, and all the guys like that. Stuart Pearce,
it's unbelievable, isn't it? Coming down and playing at our football club. But again, fair play to the people, fair play to the people involved. And you could have gone up to Newcastle and 45, 52,000, whatever it was at that time.
Yeah.
But no, Victor's. Yeah, he was a decent chairman, absolutely.
And obviously, when you left the football club, you moved on to Peterborough, and obviously, you went to Leyton Orient and Colchester as well. Aside that, obviously, Stevenage beat at the weekend Colchester as well.
Yes, I saw.
So obviously, a second away win for Stevenage this season, which is a long time coming since the first one since August. But when you look at that squad and when you look at, your career that you went on and had after that, did you see the football club moving up to the Football League sooner than they actually did? Obviously it took quite a long time to get actually into the league.
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it? It's I know sometimes clubs go up and down, and Stevenage always had really good support, and I always thought the fans at Stevenage. I think my last game was against, was it Harrow Borough? I think it was Harrow Borough.
Okay.
And there was it was either 2,000 or 3,000 there.
Yeah.
It'd be a tremendous day for the football club. But when you're going into football league, it's not easy. You know, look at the leagues now. You've got Portsmouth. You've got big clubs that play in League Two now, with huge funding, big histories. You know, so it's not easy, and you know, for the football club to do what they've done, to have a stint in League One, to have a look at the top end of League One years ago, you know, and even look, you know, at the champ, because that's scary when you go into those leagues. You know, it's a tremendous thing, and you know, hopefully, you know, staying in the league is, you know, obviously Evo's gone in there now with Reigns, who I played with at Orient.
Okay.
You know, I genuinely hope that they do well and keep the club where it needs to be, and you know, in the football league, because the setup, the training grounds okay. I was at the training ground 2 months ago.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, so it's a reasonable League Two football club, and you know, hopefully they'll continue that journey.
So you were saying, obviously, you just mentioned there about Steve Evans coming in with Paul Raynor. So you said you played with Paul Raynor at Orient, did you?
Yeah, I was with Reigns. I think he was there for a year, and I see them both, you know, time to time, and you know, it's hopefully, you know, they'll keep the club where it needs to be, and turn it around. And it's a good win against Colchester, and you know, really pleasing. Colchester was another one of my sides, so I don't know where I'll go with that one, because you know, I look at Colchester, I look at Stevenage. You look at all the clubs that you play for, and I had really good times at both football clubs. But somebody's got to win, haven't they? And you know, it's a good 3 points for the Boro.
And hopefully now that's Steve Evans and Paul Raynor's first win in charge as well. Obviously, the third game, they've got their first win now, breaking the duck of obviously winning away from home for the first time since August, getting the first win in 12 games. You know, it should, fingers crossed, really set the club up really well for Friday's game against Rochdale, and obviously the game against Scunthorpe on Monday as well, which are two massive games in, you know, this fight against relegation. They're two games that, you know, if Stevenage can get 2 wins there, then they've got every chance of getting out of this.
Oh, it's huge, isn't it? It's huge, and what it gives you, that win at the weekend, is it gives you confidence, momentum. You know, the lads will go in with a game plan and an idea how they want to play against Rochdale, and you know, they're games that are winnable. I know it's an often used saying, but it's not within the realms that they can take 6 points and take 9 out of 9. They'll take 7 out of 9. You know, you'd probably take 6 out of 9 at the minute.
Yeah.
Because it just keeps putting points on the board, and you know, keeps the wolf away from the door, if you like. But no, they're winnable games, and the lads will be buoyant. They've got that 3 points in the bag, and it's just about getting the head down. Hopefully everybody's healthy and ready to go against Rochdale on Friday, and then it's Easter Monday the game, isn't it?
Easter Monday, Scunthorpe away. So you know, just a few days rest, and then you're back playing. Then they're back playing again. So not a long rest, but it's another. You know, I suppose if they could win on Friday, they can just take that through as momentum into the Monday game, and that will kind of help them through to get the points on Monday, hopefully. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, changes the spirit. It's tough. It's tough when you're down towards the lower reaches of a league. You need strong characters.
Yeah.
You need people that are brave in what they do in their football actions. You need players to play at their levels, and that's not always easy. When I don't want to say when you're used to losing, but when things don't go well for you.
Yeah.
you have to find a solution, but that starts with the management team, that starts with the players getting their mentalities right and understanding what it takes and what they've got to do consistently to win football matches. And Stephen Rains have won a lot of football matches in their time, so that hopefully the club's in good hands.
Yeah, it seems very much, even if you look at the games before that, the Exeter game, we were unlucky in the Exeter game. The Oldham game, we dominated Oldham, just couldn't put the ball into the back of the net. And then obviously, I suppose it might have been a little bit of an after effect from losing to Oldham. The players were that much more determined to actually, get the victory against Colchester, because everyone knew the size of the Oldham game in terms of how big that could be for the season. And then that, having lost that game and dominating them in that game, the players might have actually, I'm sure they probably did. They probably look back on that and they're like, well, we can use that as motivation, or we can use that, and we can look on that, and we can get down about that. And then when they decide to use that as motivation, which is the best way of looking at it.
Yeah, well, it's positive environments again, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's taking, for a start, you've got to be real, because the pros know when you're talking rubbish.
Yeah.
But there are things, that you take out of football matches, and it's about understanding what's coming next, but taking out the positives. And if you dominate a game, and you just can't put it in the back of the net, you know what you've got to work on, but you continue with the good stuff.
Yeah.
And you just hope that the ball drops, whether it comes off your knee, whether it comes off set play, back of your head. It's about taking that, but it's about doing the right things, isn't it? And you keep doing the right things, and then the gaffer's job is just to tweak it, and whether they look at it tactically or with position changes or personnel changes, it's just about tweaking stuff so that you get that difference.
That's right. And obviously, when you left the football club, and obviously you had a spell in the Football League, after that, you went into management yourself as well. So, what were, I suppose, some of the main challenges for you of going into management, or, and also some of the things that you really enjoyed going into management?
I love setting. Yeah, no, absolutely. I love setting. I love coaching. So I adore coaching. I love developing players. I think I've had a couple of. I was first team coach at Charlton when they was in the Championship and League One.
Oh wow!
Yeah, no, I had 4 managers in my time as first team coach. It was in a. The club was in turmoil at the time. It was when we threw the pigs onto the pitch, and the footballs on the pitch under the old owner. I was first team coach at Lincoln City under Peter Jackson.
Yeah,
it's just in it. It's football is precarious. You get hired, you get sacked. It's tough to get back in. The football world, it's a tough gig, but no, I love coaching. I enjoy developing players. So it was always going to happen. It was always going to be in. But when you look at jobs and that with the pros and seniors, there's not many jobs around, and you have to bide your time and wait till you get back in.
So your last club was, or I'm not too sure if it's your last club, or if you're still there at the moment with Watford. Are you still with Watford now?
No, I got made redundant in June.
June.
So
go on.
Yeah. So no, I'm coaching the under-16s at Peterborough.
Oh, so you've gone back to Posh? Okay.
Yeah. So I'm just coaching their 16s at the moment, and really enjoying it. Again, developing players and working with the younger players. But no, I had two good years at Watford. But again, it's a club that makes changes, and both my bosses were.
I think it's coming back.
Pardon?
Oh, we've got you back now. I think we just lost the connection now. It might have been on my side. I don't know what was going on, but we're all clear and good now.
Okay. Yeah. No, I had 2 good years at Watford, and it's a club that changes their first team staff and their academy staff quite often. So left there in June last year, and got a phone call from Peterborough to come in and help out there, and enjoying it there at the moment. So all good.
So you're with them. And obviously to go back to a club that obviously you know well and that you played for. I'm sure that was a big deciding factor in deciding to go back and work with them as well.
Yeah, they're a Category 2 academy. And they want to push. They've just had a dome put up. They've got a really good structure. They've got good people in place. There's hopefully upside there with myself and helping the players and trying to get players through. That's the job, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And obviously Stevenage are known for that as well. There's been players the likes of Ben Wilmot and the likes of George Boyd that have all come through at Stevenage. There's players coming through at the moment as well, Louis Fernandez, etc. But it's always great when you've got some of your own players or players coming through from the academy who are given a run out in the first team and making a name for themselves. Ben Kennedy was another one as well at Stevenage. So, there's been a few over the years, and there's just something special when you see somebody come through the academy and work their way into the first team.
Yeah, especially when these football clubs are really community focused, aren't they? And it's the same with the Posh. Peterborough is a city, and it's a one club city. Mm-hmm. You walk around and you speak to people who just support. Yeah, I'm Posh, and it's the same at Stevenage, and at Stevenage have got great support. And I think it's important when you see local lads getting their chance, coming into the first team, and building a career. And whether it's a Mark Smith or Boydie, it's fantastic. It's great for everybody. It's great for the community. It's great for the football club. So I think it's really important. It's really important to be academy focused.
Yeah, 100%. And obviously you just touched on the community side of it there as well. And with the COVID pandemic, the club were exceptional with the work that was going on throughout that sort of time as well, in regards to supporting the local area, the area of Stevenage and surrounding areas as well, with the care line program and everything like that. And that's massive as well, isn't it? When you've got a club like Stevenage going out there and just showing that they care about the people as well as the people come and supporting them, they kind of show that they've got a little bit of that kind of reverse back on the fans and people of the local area as well. Yeah,
it's a great thing, isn't it? It's a great thing. And with the soccer schools and with all those things and going into schools, you build a brand, don't you, which I think is really important. Of course it's an income stream which you need as well in these times. But it's I don't think there's anything better when you get a young kid that's going to a soccer school with the local football club. He loves the Boro. He gets in the academy. He goes through the academy, and he's a Boro fan for life. And I think it's a great thing to have that loyalty, and those people involved at the football club is an asset. And if you can get him in the first team, then it's even better. It's priceless.
100%. We had a question from Russ. He said, got a quick question. Obviously, you played in defence and in midfield. What was your preferred position out of the two?
Left side centre half.
Yeah.
Always. Yeah. No, I enjoyed defending. I enjoyed getting tight. I enjoyed dominating my direct opponent and basically, making sure that he never scored. A few verbals as well at times, and there was always the dark arts, but I learned a few of those off Nuge. But it's definitely left side centre half. Really enjoyed it.
His boy Ben Nugent was also a Stevenage player as well. So obviously Richard was from back when you were playing, but then Ben, he's now at Barnet, I think it is. He was at Stevenage and then he's moved, so it's kind of going through the family, a bit like the Wilmots as well. Obviously, Ben's dad was Richard Wilmot as well. Yeah. Yeah,
no, it's fantastic, isn't it? We had Ben at Watford, obviously, and good lad, great career, and hopefully, he'll continue to flourish. But No, Nuge was fantastic, really good. We had a really good bond. I was quite serious as a footballer, and Nuge would lighten things up and just tremendous in the dressing room. Absolute top guy in the dressing room, and you need that balance and that mix.
So just we're going to start to wrap it up in a moment. We've just got a few more questions. Obviously, you touched on the fans and how your own relationship was like with the fans already, and when you played at Stevenage. But now with this season, it's been great having the fans back in, and much needed as well for the fans to actually be in there in the stadium and just kind of it plays a big part. Playing games behind closed doors or playing with fans. I'm sure every player will say, "I want to play with fans because it gives me that extra, however much it is." In terms of a final push in your own performance, and you've got people there in the stadium that you want to play for.
Absolutely, and I think this is a great point. I don't think supporters know, how positive their energy can be.
Yeah,
we've all players go through tough times at times, and you see it all over the time when players are going through poor periods, whether it's in the game or whether it's over a period of games.
Yeah,
the backing and the support and the positivity from the fans is key, is absolutely key. And I didn't spend a lot of time at Stevenage, but it was a really good time. And the fans were always really positive, and it helps when you're winning games, of course it does. But football clubs, when you look at the position now that the club's in, where they're under a little bit more pressure, and they're trying to keep in this fantastic league of ours. The fans become huge, and the fans' mentality, the backing and the attitude of the fans, and the noise that they make. And I'm talking about positive noises, not negative noises.
Yeah,
it's huge. It's huge. I don't think probably the punters realise, the fans of football clubs realise how important they are for the players and for the success of football clubs. No player goes out to make a mistake or be the person that loses a football match or miss a chance or give a penalty away or whatever it is. But it's the reaction of the fans is key, and they need to get behind the team, and they need to understand, their role in it. It's huge, absolutely huge.
And I think it's even more huge these days with obviously the impact of it's not just in the stadium, because when you come out of the stadium, there's social media, sites like Twitter, Facebook, and people are going to be slated. If somebody makes a mistake, it just seems like people are getting slated left, right, and centre, and those players, kind of can't get away from it at times.
No, absolutely, I totally agree, and it's an easy way, isn't it, to have your opinion without actually standing in front of somebody.
Yeah,
and I can remember when I was playing, and this was 94, 97, 2000. The young kids around me would be straight on their phones, even at that time, and looking at opinions of people and fans, and even the opposition fans would slate players.
Yeah.
I used to tell, what you doing? Get off it.
Yeah.
Get off it. Don't look at it. No disrespect to it. Don't look at it. It's not good. Yeah, but everybody likes to say, "Oh, he was fantastic today," but then there's always somebody that's going to go, "He's rubbish." And it does. It actually affects players, their perception of themselves, their mentality, their strength of character. If you keep getting battered, at some time you're going to go in something of a shell, which it's tough, and I feel sorry for him now, because the exposure on the pros now is huge, and it needs managing. It really does.
And that's a great point as well. Saying obviously in regards to being able to manage it and stuff as well, and the mentality and everything of the players there to take a big hit there. It's very important. Obviously, mental health is a massive thing in the world at the moment, and that's something that players they're human beings, they're people as well.
No, they do, and it's huge. Psychology. psychology now in high performance elite environments it's that extra 1%, 2% gain that you can get with your squads, and it confidence, especially when you're creative.
Yeah.
You know, it was easier for me because I was a destroyer. I was a good destroyer. I enjoyed destroying other teams when they had the ball, players and defending well. It still is a passion of mine.
Yeah.
When you're playing as a 7 or 11, 10, wherever you are on the pitch, you've got to affect games positively.
Yeah.
And if you are, you know, the game's involved in inches, isn't it now? And if you're 5% down because it's not happening and you've got a lack of confidence, it affects your mentality, it affects your physical outputs,
yeah,
it affects your quickness of your individual actions,
mm-hmm.
and that's a tough train to get off when you're on that downward spiral, and because you know you're coming up against opposition that want to nail you.
Yeah.
And you know, when you're 19 or younger than that sometimes, and you're playing in a level that you're not quite up to because you're developing, it's tough. It's tough, and that's where you need the support of your gaffer, of your teammates. Of course, you've got to put 110% in at all times, and that's important. But it's again, the fans come in. The fans are huge in that terms, because sometimes you can do everything right, but it just doesn't work. You know.
No, that's right. And we'll kind of wrap it up with probably two more questions, and just going into a little bit of coaching again, as you were saying. You know, if you're to give younger people coming through the game, you know, the ages that you coach, a bit of advice that, you know, might help them along the way, what would you kind of give, like main tips and main bit of advice or tips you'd give them?
Oh wow, that's a big question. You've got to live and breathe it.
Okay, so
you've got to live and breathe it. If you don't live and breathe it and give yourself to it, you're not going to maximize what you've got. And it's all about that. I know hundreds of players that could play at a much higher level, but they don't, because they don't live and breathe it. It's whether you're creative, whether you're a defender, whether you're just a functional, you know, deep liar, you've got to maximize what you do at certain times in your career, and that's how you play at the biggest level that you can, the highest level that you can. And I think without that, you know, you end up playing maybe 2 or 3 leagues lower than you should, and that's such a waste of talent. So, you know, you've got to understand where you are. That's important. There's so many kids nowadays think that they're absolutely thriving when they're not. But yeah, I could talk for hours about this.
Nah, that's all good. But that's a fantastic bit of advice. If you're living and breathing the game, and it's just you know that you're going to be able to play at the highest level that you should, you know, the level that you should be playing at, basically. Yeah, absolutely. So, and I suppose Russ had just put there, Ben Nugent is currently at Gloucester, so he moved on from Barnet. Just mentioned that. But just going back to your early days as well, I suppose, just who were your own sort of inspirations and kind of people that you kind of looked up to from the game as well? Was there anyone in particular?
When I was a young player, I used to love Alan Hansen.
A brilliant player from Liverpool and Scotland. Yeah.
So good, so calm. I mean, you know, I wasn't calm. I was aggressive and emotional as a player, but I was always under control mostly. But used to adore the way he played the game. Roy Keane, when you look at what he did, he wasn't silky. You know, he wouldn't combine to go past people.
No, but he was a no-nonsense player, which is what you want sometimes, what you need sometimes, yeah.
Always rocked up, you know, and an old gaffer of mine always said, and I tell the players that I work with, the best players play well in the big games.
Yeah.
And I think, if you can have a mindset, or get your mindset that when the big games come up, because obviously with the Boro, they've had a big game against Colchester, Rochdale are down there. That's another game.
Yeah, exactly.
You've got Scunthorpe that are down there, so you're taking points off teams around you.
Yeah,
these are huge games. These are the games where you rock up. These are the games where you make sure you're at your best. And if you can do that and make sure that in those big games, and it's not always first against second, is it? Sometimes it's 19th against 22nd in the league.
Yeah, all
depending
day.
where you are.
It was like Stevenage Oldham last week, 23rd against 22nd. It's still a massive, massive game. It's not, you're not fighting for a title or for playoffs or for a cup final or whatever, but it still feels like that.
Oh no, in that context.
Yeah.
In that context. And again, that's where Evo will want and pick a squad that he can trust. Your gaffer, and another thing I say to the lads, as a whether you're a forward, whether you're an attacking midfielder, whether you're a fullback, centre half, your gaffer's got to trust you. If he doesn't trust you, these big games are going to pass you by, because he's going to need 11 players that he knows are going to be are going to do what they do and play at their levels. And then you still lose games sometimes. You can have a really good period. You can dominate a game 70-30.
Yeah.
You can outpass, outplay, outscore, outcreate chances. But their goalkeeper has a worldie. They stick one in from 30 yards in the 80th minute, and you're done.
Yeah. No, of course. Yeah.
That's where the game's so fantastic. You can't control what happens. You just need a group, a methodology, and an idea that you stick to and work to, and maximise. That's what it's about.
All right, I think we'll wrap it up there then, to be honest. So thank you very much, Simon, for having this discussion, having this chat. It's been a pleasure and great talking to you. Just before we wrap it up, I wanted to mention, obviously, what I mentioned earlier. I'm going to mention it again regarding the Martin Gittins game, where it's going to be an old Boro Legends team against the fans team as well, which is taking place on the 8th of May, so just the day after the game against Salford, the final game as well. So that's just something I wanted to mention there. But yeah, Simon, all the best with Peterborough, and thank you very much.
No, I'll try and get down to that. Is that a Sunday?
Sunday, yeah, Sunday 2 p.m. I think it is. Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I'll I'm only in St Albans, so I will. I'll try and get down. That's the Sunday, the 8th of May.
Yeah, so the day after the final game of the season. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, absolutely. I'll try and get down.
All right, mate. I might see you there. I'm sure.
Yeah,
hopefully I will.
All right. Take care.
Nice. Cheers. Thanks, Simon.
Cheers. You're welcome. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.